My name is Shane Dolinsky.
I'm Alexa Silva.
This is the origin story of
We
We
flip.
Flip. Yeah. So, Alexa, let's talk about
How this
your.
all came about.
Yeah, how did it start?
Uh, well, so for everybody, I'm a physician assistant. I am an emergency medicine fellowship trained, but I work in interventional radiology. And that amassed a lot of student loan debt, as I'm sure many of you out there also have. And it can be a struggle at times. And I've expressed to Shane many times over the last year that I don't know what I'm going to do because I work really hard and I pay a lot of money each month and it seems to not really do much.
Towards student loans, you mean?
Yeah, I seem to always be in the same kind of hole. And in 2 years from now, about 18 months, there's going to be a new change in effect regarding student loan debt. And it's going to negatively impact me. I was really nervous about it until we started doing this because my loan payment was going to be the same amount as my mortgage, which is incredible that can even be legal.
Yeah. Super, super frustrating when, you work 12 years almost in school to post school to get to a position where you can make really good money, really hard work, lots of hours. And I mean, I can't imagine how much time you spent just to get a degree. And then you get to the finish line and, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm finally where I wanted to be. I finally got the goal, and wow, I finally landed this amazing job where I get to use my skills and I get to use all the things that I've trained on for the last so many years. And you come out the other side like victorious, and then reality kind of hits, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost unsettling having a career thinking, you've made it and kind of like joke's on you because
Yeah,
the reality of it is, thinking that I would have had to pick up another job, more shifts where I already currently work, doing something on the side just to survive, just to get by seems criminal.
just to pay your student loan debt that you amassed. How much student loan debt did you amass in this whole process?
Including undergrad and graduate work, it was $220,000.
$220,000 of
Mm-hmm.
student loan debt. And then, I know when we first started talking about this, obviously it weighed really heavy on you. And, as a problem solver, I'm always like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And it became a little bit more time sensitive when you realized that, well, you realized a bunch of things about the student loan system. One, like, I don't know where any of my money is going. And that, felt a little bit injustice to me. Like, what do you mean? Like, you made a double payment. You didn't see it? And like, well, no, I don't know where it goes because I've got 7 different loans, 8 different loans, 12 different loans. Every semester it's a new loan. And it doesn't really say this much went to this much went to that. And it feels like I made another payment and I still owe the same amount. And so I think the thing that was really challenging was how do you get how do you keep your head above water? And you're working, 45 to 60 hours, 45 to 50 hours a week, and Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock till 4:30, sometimes 5. And when when all these loans recast, when these programs change, all of a sudden you're going to pay several $1,000s a month in just student loan debt.
Right.
And so your fear and your trepidation and your unknowing of how you're going to start paying back these debts was really sort of the impetus of, well, as a problem solver, this is like, we got to figure this out.
Right.
Right. So I came to you with some ideas, I mean, you came
Yeah.
to me with ideas. You're like, well, I guess I'll just pick up another shift so that way I work 6 days a week,
Right.
but it's only a 12-hour shift. I'm like, oh my God, seriously? Like, I'm
On
never
my
gonna
only
see.
time off.
Yeah, right. And selfishly, I'm like, that's probably not a good idea because, we only get to spend so much time together. And there were other ideas too. Maybe you can work after work.
Yeah.
So 7 to 5 and then 5 to 9, right?
Yeah, that was an option too. And even exploring outside of where I currently work. And I mean, I looked at job postings and I was like, "Ugh, none of this sounds like I want to spend time doing this, And how much is your time really worth? An extra $100 here or there. It's like, it just doesn't feel right. And then you were coming up with ideas of, things related to what you already do. And Airbnb my house, which that sounds kind of cool. And we explored that a little bit. And I was kind of down initially. We thought about it. We looked at some comps. I was like, yeah, my house is awesome. Like I could make a lot of money. And I was like, it's kind of weird having, like, I live in my house and having people there living in my house with me when I'm not there, sleeping in my bed. My clothes are right there. Like, it's kind of odd. And then I felt a little uncomfortable doing that.
She's like, well, I'll just lock out the primary bedroom, my bedroom where I live. I'm like, no,
That's the
people.
best bedroom in the
Yeah,
house.
that's you're not going to be able to rent out your house. And just for some background for people who might not know me, I'm into real estate. I'm a real estate investor, real estate entrepreneur. I own several Airbnbs. I'm the community leader for the Airbnb community here in New Mexico. I do a lot of other types of investing too. I've been investing for a very long time. In real estate, it's just something that I'm passionate about and I love. And so when I'm problem solving, I'm okay. What are we gonna do? Okay, well, let's do something real estate. How about the Airbnb? Like we can rent it out one weekend a month. You can make $1,000. 800, $900,000 a month. That's the difference between your payments now and your payments in a year and 18 months from now when it changes. And so you did like the idea until you started sitting with it for a minute.
Yeah, definitely. It was a little too personal. I think if I didn't live there,
For
I
sure.
would have 100% gone with that.
Yeah.
And that's, a possibility in the future. But then, we were thinking about things outside of, medical work and real estate and then I don't know, you had this like kind of look on your face where you're like traveling back in time to like the first time that we kind of hung out outside of seeing houses together.
Hmm.
And, you're telling me, well, remember that conversation that we had where I was telling you what I do for a living and investing? And you said you were interested. Were you were you being serious about that, or were you just, trying to make me feel good about telling you what I do? And
Well, when you were telling me how bothered you were and how stressed out you were, and granted, this isn't a year and a half from now, so you're like, I better live it up now because next year I'm gonna have to like not go
I
out.
know. I was like, I can't travel. I
Yep.
can't do anything. It's just all going to have to be this year and that's it. And then I'm done. Done for the rest of my life. And I'm like, wait, I just started my life.
Yeah. Started your career and started making money and doing things, in the medical industry that was really helping others and putting yourself out there, and all of these fantastic reasons why you spent all of this life grinding in higher education to be marketable and to help others and to give back and to make a good living. You spent a lot of time getting to that point. And so for me, I didn't really want to bring up the idea of investing because I wanted to test the waters first because
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it and I'm very comfortable in this space,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I was like, what about Airbnb? And like, let's look at some options. But we pretty much vanquished all the options. They just didn't really seem to work. Like you working another like a Saturday, 6 days a week. I know a lot of people do it out there. And I grew up with my dad working 6 or 7 days a week, and I resented that. I resented that fact because I never saw him, and I just think you worked so hard to get to where you are. Now you're gonna have to work so hard again. It just seems like the system's a little bit rigged, and so all of these ideas of how we can help you, I really wanted to test the waters. I was like, remember when we had that conversation? You were asking me all those questions about investing and doing different things and Airbnbs and flips. And like, were you serious about that? You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool, right? Like, I think I didn't really know about it before, but I think you solidified that for me that I have had an entrepreneurial type of,
Mindset.
yeah, way of life. Like I create and I think of things outside of the box and I want to, not just stay in the this one area. Like I want to travel outside of things and so I think you kind of opened my eyes to what was already there. I just didn't really know
Yeah.
as much about it. And yeah, I was serious. I am very interested in what you do. I think what you do is amazing, and you're also incredibly good at it. So I think there's that
Well,
piece of it too.
thank you for that. So that was right. That was sort of the last option I threw out there because I knew that was an option that when all else fails, we could make that happen. And so when we exhausted all the other options and your frustration level was still high and we really didn't see any way out of your student loan debt, like this monumental mountain of debt that just does not go down every month that you pay it. It goes towards interest, not
Right.
principal. I was like, okay, well, let's find a property. Let's flip it.
I was like, wait, what? I just told you that I have all of this debt and I don't have any money
Don't
because
have
I
any money.
pay towards it. How are we going to find a property?
Like, no, it's great. Yeah, that sounds great. But I don't have any money. I mean, you were so exasperated by like you really wanted to do it, but you also didn't. There wasn't in your mind. There wasn't a way for you
Yeah.
to participate financially to help make this happen.
Right. I couldn't see that there was a possibility for that. Like, how can you do something that costs money with no money? It
Right.
doesn't, even right now, like, it just, even though we're in it, it doesn't feel,
It's a little
it's,
surreal.
yeah. It's like, how are we doing this?
Yeah. Do you remember what I said? You were so exasperated. You're like, I don't have any money. I want to do it, but I don't have any money.
So dramatic, right?
That's what you said. You were very dramatic about it, actually. I was like, I almost started laughing, not at you, but like, it's just like, it's okay. We'll figure it out. What did I tell you, though?
You're like, let's find the property first and then the money will find us.
And then money will come. Yeah. And that was about a month and a half ago when we decided we were going to do it. And, to your credit, you were like, cool, what do we have to do? And I'm like, well, I mean, the first thing we should do is probably set up an LLC. And like, I'll do it. I'm like, that's awesome because I hate paperwork stuff and I've done it and I don't want to do it again. But like, if you're going to take that on, no, 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 I'm on it. And man, like that next day, we decided on a Wednesday, I think, and that Thursday, you're like, so I'm looking into this. I'm like, oh shit, you're okay. Yeah, let's go.
Well, I mean, I'm about it.
Yeah.
And when I say I'm going to do something, I commit to it.
For sure, you did immediately, and I was excited because I knew at that point, there's a difference between a dreamer and a dream maker. Like, there's a lot of dreamers in the world, a lot of people that tell you what they're going to do or where they're going to go and what they're going to be. And, I learned very early in my life, a very good friend of mine told me, the difference between you and this guy, who was another friend, is you're a dream maker and he's a dreamer. We'll see where you guys are in 15 or 20 years. And it was a prophecy. It was real. But I realized in that moment, okay, she's a dream maker. Because you were like, I'm doing this. Oh, what else do we need to do? Oh, what else do we need to do? Oh, what's next? So I was on a Thursday. So Wednesday we decided we're going to do it. And I was like, don't worry. We'll find the deal. Thursday you're doing the LLC. Like you're getting that stuff set up immediately. And, I get a lot of investors, come to me with properties. A lot of different avenues for me to get properties because of the business that I'm in as a realtor, as a real estate investor, as someone who works with investors.
Yeah, you know a lot of people, and I actually signed up for all of those things that you sign up for, and we were looking through all the, available possibilities,
Some
and
properties came out.
I would do, you taught me how to do one of those comparative market analysis, and I was doing those on every property that came through.
Crazy, like have you seen this one? Did you see this one? This one might be a good one. I'm like, wait, whoa, hold on. I just woke up. She's already scrolled through 10 different properties. Like, already like, this one might be a good one. I'm like, okay, cool. Why do you think that? Like, let's walk through it. So that was immediately. I mean, immediately you started looking at properties. We started looking at properties. For me, it's kind of like old hat, old baggage. That's what I normally do. But for you, like the excitement and the possibility. You still are. I don't know how we're gonna get the money. I don't know how we're gonna get the money. But like, let's go through the paces. Let's go through the motions. I remember a couple days later, that Saturday morning. We were waking up and I'm kind of a workaholic.
Kind of.
And I was going through some emails, drinking my coffee, and on your, I use Gmail, so there's like your inbox, and there's like promotions and other stuff, and for some reason I accidentally clicked on promotions, and I never do that, and there was a Zillow listing that came up, and I was like, and I took a look at it, I'm like, oh wait, all right, well, okay, this is right down the street from my house, and this price point looks
super low.
this is compelling.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're like, Alexa. I'm like, what? Getting ready to leave. No. There's a house. I think I found it. I'm like, okay. And you're like so serious. You're like very, very excited. You're like, no, we got to go see it. I was like, you have showings in like 15 minutes. No, we got 5 minutes. Let's go right now.
Yeah.
I was like, right now?
It
And
was really close to my house, yeah. And when you're talking about investments, those opportunities, especially if it's marketed on Zillow, because that means it's on the MLS, that means everyone has access to it, it means it's available,
and it'll go quick.
Time is of the essence, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I know I got showings, I got work to do, but it's right down the street. Let's just go take a look at it real fast.
Yeah.
And you're like,
okay.
Yeah. And so we went, yeah.
Yeah. And it was where the area is, it's a very nice area, and we pulled up and you're like, okay, it looks interesting. And then we walked in and you just like lit up. You're like, this is it. And I think that's because one, you've done this for a very long time, so you know what things kind of are going to work, what's not going to work. You had already looked at the information on the MLS about it. And you're like, I think this is the one. And I was like, how do you know? You're like,
yeah, it was just so crappy. Like the kitchen was like small, and like the garage was converted, and it smelled like dog, and
it's all very disjointed, right? Like those older homes, or they separated the rooms, right? Like you had your specific, living room, dining, kitchen. And nowadays people like the open concept. So you have vision. You're able to see beyond all the nasty.
Yeah, and as we're walking through it, I was just like, okay, man, it's priced well. At this point, we're going to have to negotiate a little bit, because from what I'm seeing,
it's going to need work.
It's going to need some money. I think we're going to have to probably put, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 into it. And so, yeah, I was excited right from the start.
And I think you're also kind of excited because I'm like, oh, we could take this wall down and we could do this over here. And you're like, do you know a little bit about this?
Yeah, like it was pretty, one of the things that I find with a lot of investors, especially newer investors, and I really, try to help newer investors. I've got a little niche where I've got clients of mine who buy a house, and I tell them a little bit about me, and they get interested in it. And some of them come back and they're like, hey, we're serious. We want to do this. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me teach you how to do it. Let's start from ground zero. And what they a lot of times lack is the vision beyond what they see, because most of the houses where you have to add value, they do not look good. They do not smell good.
Right.
Like they're in disrepair. They have, most of the ones where you're really going to make a good impact and a good financial return on investment, they need work and they're crappy.
And you have to be able to see that, right? You have to be able to mentally take down those walls, re-envision, reinvent. Yeah.
Yep. And this house, it definitely provided a lot of opportunity for us to create that open concept, walk through it and realize, maybe this wall should be gone. Maybe, this back area is not good.
Right.
Maybe we can redo this, the landscaping, these are things that that we're looking at that we need to factor into the cost that it's going to take to turn this into a property that's going to be net us a positive result.
Absolutely. And then later that day, you went off and did your things as you do, and
It's in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, what are we
you're
going to do?
like,
Which should we look
how
at
are we going to
kitchen? And
negotiate? And you called the agent, and you put your charm on as you always do, and you worked at that angle, right? You sold the story, right? This whole story of you're not one of these people that the wholesalers and people that are looking to make a quick buck and really lowballing the offers and stuff like that. And you knew that, and you use that to our advantage. And I think the agent also kind of recognized that too. And so we had a pretty decent like offer that we were gonna put in initially.
yeah, no, we were from where they had it listed at to where I wanted to be, and I had the conversation with her on Sunday, the next day. She's like, "Well, we have an offer. We have a counter offer
Right.
back."
Yeah, we were waiting for them to sign. And I was like, oh man,
Yeah,
it's
and she
already.
told me, she's like, "Yeah, the here's the counter offer." She gave me the number. She was allowed to disclose those details, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me chew on it." And so we talked about it, and you're
Yeah.
like, "I still don't. We just don't have. I don't have any money." And I'm like, "Just let's, hold on." And so we're doing a little bit more of a deep dive, and I'm looking at the floor plan, and Alexa's like, I think the floor plan is wrong. I don't think we should offer what we were initially thinking about offering. And I'm like, well, okay, tell me why. Like, why do you think that? And you're like, well, this sunroom area, they're counting it as square footage. And you're like, should that be square footage? And I'm like, no, because it wasn't air conditioned, it's not heated. And I took a look at it, I'm like, yeah, you're damn right. Yeah,
Right.
it's about 300 square feet that they're including in the square footage that they really should not be. And
Totally.
so I reached out to the agent. I'm like, why is this included in the square footage? And she's like, well, it's a professional floor plan. I'm like, okay, that doesn't
Okay.
tell me anything. It tells me nothing. It tells me
Yeah.
you're passing the buck.
Yeah.
Consequently, after that conversation the next day, it was revised down.
Yes, it was.
And that was, immediately I'm like, okay, you're showing value here. You're helping look at this from an investment mindset, not from a, wow, this is so pretty and we
Well,
can do this.
right, it's data, it's facts. Like you can't tell me that a price point $50 a square foot more, like that's atrocious. Like you can't do that when it's wrong.
Right.
Like, and I was a little aggressive when I told you. I was like, because you're like, I'm gonna put this offer in. I was like, no. I was like, you gotta go lower. You're like, but I think, and I was like, I know it might cost us. Like they might say no. I was like, I think we have to do it. Just go lower. Just do it.
Yeah, and I feel like my whole fear there, because I think where I wanted to put in the offer, I think we would have still been fine.
Totally.
But your point was like the worst they could say is no, and I'm like, okay, that's good. My fear more than anything else was somebody else was going to swoop in and grab this deal, which was very possible at the price point they had it at.
For sure.
So I called her up and I'm like, hey, this is the offer we want to put in. I'm not going to take a commission on it, and just so you know, like, this is not something that I'm just going to pawn off and make a quick couple bucks. Like, this is something that we're using. And I told her the story about we flip. At the time we just made the name,
Yeah.
and I feel like she thought she was really empathetic and
Yeah.
compassionate in the sense that, okay, cool. Well, let me talk to him and see what we can do. And then she texted back. She said, you should just put in the offer. And that's usually a good sign. That's like, well, at least they're going to counter it or they're going to consider it.
Right. It wouldn't be a no. It would be a let's kind of check this out.
Let's just put it on paper and make it real. Let's make it a
Yeah.
real offer.
Yeah.
And so we did that Monday. I put in the offer, wrote it up myself. I usually use a transaction coordinator to do all my paperwork, but for my flips and my own investments, I do it myself because I just, it's there's no reason to get somebody else involved in that or pay somebody else for something that I'm going to try to make money on. That doesn't make sense.
Totally.
And so I put the offer in, and just a few hours later, she's like, your reply is in the inbox. And I'm like, okay, cool. And she's like, yeah, congratulations. I'm like, congratulations. Like, we didn't accept the counteroffer. And she's like, there's no counteroffer. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, real super excited. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now because I had to tell you, I'm like, we did it.
Well, but initially when you told me, you were kind of like being low key about it.
I was cagey.
Yeah, you're like, so we got to talk about,
Yeah.
And I was
So,
like, oh man, I was a little too aggressive, wasn't I? I was like, sometimes that does bite me, but and
yeah, I
you're
kept
like,
you on the hook for a little
you
bit.
did, and then you're like, we got it. But it didn't really click in my mind because
Yeah.
in my mind I was just like, "Oh, I messed this one up."
Yeah. Yeah. And so I let her off the hook, and she was like, we were both elated. And then I think the reality set in for you.
I was like, so about that money
So,
thing.
money. And so I've done several investments, to be fair, several flips. And I've always had either a home equity line of credit, I've done hard money loans, I've had other partners. Like, I've never had to raise capital. And I'm very familiar with how to do it. Talked to numerous people, and obviously in this world, I talk to other investors and how other people do it. So this was the first time I walked into this knowing that I'm coming in with zero balance. Now, that is a position that is, it didn't scare me at all. I knew, I just don't know how I knew, but I knew we were going to get that money. You were like, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, you were. I mean, you kept the rails on this thing the whole time because I kind of was like freaking out a little bit,
Yeah,
and but I think that was good, right? Like you've reiterated time and time again, like it's gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna one step at a time. We're gonna do this. Let's just talk to people. I'm like, I don't know anybody. Like who has like hundreds of thousands of dollars just chilling, right? Like nobody does.
yeah,
So that was kind of scary for me to think, and also too, right? Like I've been very independent my whole life. I owe so much of my success to my parents, but I don't ask people for things, and that feels almost wrong. I don't know why, but it does. And I was like, I can't ask for that type of money. That's like insane.
yeah. Well, and from my perspective, I'm like, well, that's how billionaires become billionaires. It's not about how much money you have; it's about how much you can leverage, right? How much you can put together. If you listen to, Robert Kiyosaki, his whole premise is based on your debt, like OPM, other people's money, other people's money.
Right. And it's not taking their money, right? It's utilizing it. It's it's this fluid thing of let us use your money to work harder not only for you, but to also accomplish our goals. And I didn't really realize that until we started diving into what it was going to mean when we used other people's money to fund this goal.
Well, and there has to be a value proposition, right? You can't just turn around and say, "Here, give me money." Like you've got to
Right.
give them something in return. And so
Right.
when we're moving forward with this idea, when we're moving forward with how are we going to pitch people to lend us a bunch of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our goal was $300,000. That would include the majority of the flip with us coming in with, whatever overage we need. And the rehab. So that was sort of the idea was we need to come up with $300. So when we start talking to people, it's like, well, what is our value proposition? Well, one of the value propositions is my experience. I've done this before. If I'm going to come to you asking for money, I'm going to show you proof of concept. Like I've done this before
Right.
numerous times. Here's before, here's after, here's what we've done. Like here's the numbers on this particular one. This is what we feel like we can sell it for in today's market. This is what we're buying it for. We think it's going to be a 120, 150-day hold time. Like all of the things, we put together this packet of basically a pitch
Yeah.
that we can bring to friends and family. In this area, it's called private money, right? It's a little different than hard money. Private money is just utilizing the connections you have, the sphere of influence you have to help, fund this project.
Right, absolutely. And I think we also learned a lot from pitching, right?
Yeah.
You just mentioned like this was your first time doing this type of friends and family private money. Obviously, I've never done it before. I'm not a salesperson. You definitely are. And so it
She
was also,
says.
I'm not. And so that was also hard. I think we learned a lot as we talked to numerous people. How we spoke to people was incredibly important. The words that you use, how you convey your message,
Vision.
the vision, yep. And then also explaining why we think that this property is actually going to do what we say it will, right? A lot of people can be nervous about the market. Everybody, especially people that don't even live here and people that live here too, certainly they're like, well, are you sure it's going to sell? And well, what if we don't get our money back? And, and those were all things that we had to consider and think about and had to write up in our terms and agreement and policy.
Objections we had to overcome, things that we didn't think about that we needed to address ourselves.
Totally. And things that, inadvertently did hurt us a little bit. When we were pitching, we didn't convey the right message, and we had to backtrack a little bit and we had to provide a little bit more to our investors because of our fallacy there, but that's
Well, and
okay.
I think the biggest thing that we learned, and I've been using this because the idea here, and we'll talk about this here in a minute, is we're not just going to do a flip, but is when you're explaining the terms of the loan specifically, those terms need to be spelled out in almost an elementary way.
Yeah, layman's like
Yeah.
you have to walk through the equation of the money that's being brought up front, the interest that is occurring,
How it accrues.
how it accrues, over what time frame, the time frame that we're expecting, and really spelling it out, and then actually having what we use in medicine, closed loop communication, right? You tell me what you just heard from me because I need to know your comprehension. Like, did you understand what what we're offering?
Yeah. I think in total we probably pitched what 12 different groups of people and 12 different people
Yeah, for sure.
in total, and we had six people on board. 6 people on board.
Yeah, but I mean, all the other people and people that we haven't talked to necessarily as like pitch, just kind of planting the seeds. It was not a no, it was a not yet, which I think
Right.
was also incredible. I mean, people are willing. It just blows me away. Like people are willing to trust us, and that's just such a beautiful thing that they're willing to take on this goal and investment with us. And
I think a big part of our pitch too was it's not just about money, right? For us, it's actually not about money. For us, it's about really knocking out this student loan debt that is just this mountain, this huge mountain of stress that that is seemingly insurmountable. The repayment period is 20 years. I just saw something that came out a couple of days ago where, oh, the government's going to help you and they're going to do it over 30 years. Like, okay, cool. I could buy a house in the time it takes for me to pay off my student loan debt. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this actually is because there are ways that you can dig yourself out of this seemingly insurmountable pile of debt. And me personally, I felt emboldened to really work with Alexa, help Alexa for the idea of relinquishing this debt and knocking it down, as like a lumberjack would a big tree, just one axe shot at a time, just over and over and over and over again. And so the story as part of our pitch, the reason why we're doing it, not just for money, not just because it seems like fun, not just because we're starry-eyed investors who are, just trying to make their way. No, because we have a reason for doing this. And after explaining that reason to all of these people, I believe some of them hopped on board because they saw our vision and they saw your struggles
Yeah.
and your.
they had empathy toward this thing, right? Because this money that, at least my portion of it, right? Like it's not money that's going into my bank. Like it's not money that I can freely use. Like it's going toward the thing. So even in 18 months when we're done, like it's hard, right? Because debt is this invisible thing over you, right? And even when you pay it off, it's not like, oh, little confetti pops and you get a paper or anything.
Yeah.
It's just gone, but you don't have anything to show for it. And it still kind of feels like that, even when we're going to pay this off. I'm not going to have any tangible money, right? But I'll know that it's gone. And so that was another thing to your point. Like, it's not about getting rich, it's not about doing all these things. And I think people really resonated with that. Like, because a lot of people do have debt, and maybe it's more than mine, maybe it's less, but they understand how oppressive it is.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the reason why we're actually recording this. And that's why we decided to make this sort of a social journey where we're going to share these experiences, the good and the bad, the stuff we learn, the challenges, because we're hoping that we can inspire other people. And even if it's not house flipping, there are other ways, if you think outside the box, to make yourself a pathway to getting out of this debt or
Whatever
out
it
of the
is.
hole that you're in. And it doesn't matter if it's student loans or if it's loans that you borrowed from other stuff or
Private loans, or like maybe your mortgage was too much and you just need extra money, you have a family, more kids on the way, you're trying to go back to school because you're trying to advance your career, like so many things, right?
so many different things,
Or life happens, tragedy strikes, like
right?
homes burn down, like whatever the case might be. Some things seem nearly impossible, and we want to share that it is possible, and we're going to be open about everything that we're doing here, and we just want you to join us to see that you can do it too, and we're excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun journey. The good and the bad, the ugly and the sad, and the joyful. And our goal is to pay off this monumental debt, which is how much is it now?
It's 120,000 now.
120 now.
Yeah, I was very, very blessed. I had a condo in New Jersey, which is where I moved from a little over a year ago. And during the height of COVID, my parents helped me purchase it, and I was able to sell it, and I used all the proceeds. I was trying to kind of weigh where I should put those proceeds, right? I mean, you helped me find the house that I currently live in, and you had to make those decisions of the interest on a house. It was like 6% last year. I'm not sure what it is now. But my student loan debt hovers 7 and over. And so it made more sense when I crunched the numbers to put all of those proceeds toward the student loan debt. And I'm very thankful that I did. Even though it doesn't feel like much, like it didn't make much of an impact, I did, certainly.
Well, and that's going to make our job a lot easier. 240 seems a little bit more insurmountable than 120 in 18 months.
It would take a lot
And,
longer.
that goal is huge. And it is it realistic? I don't know. I don't know if it's realistic or not. But I feel very certain that there is no reason why we can't do that. And to be clear, we're going to need to make double that
Right.
in order for Alexa to pay off her student loan debt because
This is a partnership.
partnership.
It's not just, I mean, you're an incredibly generous person, and I'm so thankful. But what we're doing here, the proceeds and the profit that we make, it's split 50-50. And you take yours, and you have projects and things going on that certainly you deserve that. And you work hard, and you're doing so much for us. And so, yeah, like Shane said, it's going to take double because it's going 50-50. And then you also have to account for 35% taxes. And
Right.
it's not an easy, just quick money here, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is we're going to get this one up and running, and we're not looking for our second one right now. And those investors that we talked to a month and a half ago, once we find the next property, we're going to reach back out to them and be like, hey, you said maybe next time.
Next time is here.
Next time is now. What do you think? Let's go.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to put something together. Not hopefully, we will. This just an update on this one. Learned a couple of things. Made a mistake on this one. We got all the money in. Oh, how much money did we get? We started with zero, right?
We started with zero.
We had 30 days to
Yes.
close.
We had 30 days to close.
We had a goal.
We did have a goal of 300,000.
300,000. That would purchase the house and the majority of the renovations.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we got 305,000.
We exceeded our goal. And very generous investors with their money. Their return on investment is better than they can make by double what they'd get in a CD or
High yield savings
high yield
account.
savings account. And so the value for them is I'm going to make more money than my money sitting in the bank. So we had to make it attractive to them. At the same time, we're very cognizant of time because every second right now sitting as we're making this, we're paying back interest on the loans that we have taken. And so time is essential in real estate. Most investing, I would imagine, but certainly in real estate flipping, it could be
Money.
a killer. Yeah, it could be a killer. And so we wanted everyone's money by June 1st. We're closing on June 8th. I wanted to make sure our money was seasoned, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant, right?
You have a whole week. It's
Have
going
a
to be
whole
great.
week. Deposit all that money on June 1st in the morning, right?
For sure.
What did they tell us?
They told us no.
They said 7 days. You'll have your money in 7 days. I'm like, okay, so 7 days? Does that mean we'll have it a week from today? That was a Monday. The first was a Monday. So we'll have it on the 8th? And they're
Well, remember, we actually got the closing date wrong. I'm going to go ahead and say you got that closing date.
my bad.
So initially it was supposed to be June 9th, and so we figured 8 days would give us the week because Shane knows that money needs to be seasoned. I didn't even know what that means. I'm like, you put salt on it? Like, I don't know.
A little bit of sugar, do some chants.
A little.
Grow.
So we opened a bank account for this, for our WeFlip account, and so when we went to the bank to go deposit it, they were like, we're going to hold your money for 7 days. And so with this new closing date of June 5th, we were like, negative. That's not going to work because we close in 5 days. They said, there's nothing we can do. And we spoke to a lot of people, and yeah, we had zero power in that position. So to anybody who's going to open account, do anything regardless, give it at least 10 business days.
Business days.
Yes, because that was another thing. They said 7 days, but they didn't specify that it was 7 business days.
We actually asked, too. I'm like, so a week from today, so I can close on the 8th.
And she's like, yeah, because we were like, okay, the 8th. So we pushed it to the 8th, and then, Shane had to go through and write up a extension. And, I'm sure the people that we bought the house from were like, yo, what are you doing? Yeah, and the agent too, right? And so then Monday comes around and still no money.
Still pending.
I was like, what the heck is happening? Oh, 10 business days, right? So then we had to file another extension, which I'm like, ooh, this is such bad form, right? And Shane and I are both very much people of our word, and it feels like a sucker punch to the gut when you're like, I swear I'm trying to do the right thing, like I'm doing all the things, and
I
it's just
screenshotted my phone with the account balancing, pending, because we had 5 separate checks. And she was, gracious, and she was like, all right, I'll let them know, like, it's okay, it's cool. I'm like, we actually signed on Friday.
Like, we're done.
We just need to wait for the money.
Yeah. So that was one of our first lessons.
We learned that, and so moving forward, that'll be good. But yeah, so we closed on the 10th.
The 10th.
And demo started shortly thereafter. So we've got some real exciting stuff coming ahead. You're going to see videos of us and some of our investors doing a little demo to the property, which we just did a couple days ago. That was super fun. It's nothing better than seeing, some mature women with sledgehammers taking out their frustrations on brick walls and closets, with champagne. So that was, I'm glad we waited to the end for the champagne.
For sure. Yeah, I think things would have got a little squirrely there.
Yeah, I know. It's
But
pretty fun.
I also think that this like inclusivity that we're promoting is, I don't know, it shows like a lot of the authenticity of who we are.
What do you
And
mean, the inclusivity? What are you talking about?
well, we didn't have to necessarily include the investors in what we're doing.
See, yeah.
And so we wanted to say, hey, like, why don't you come down to the house, see the property that we got that you helped us get,
Yep.
see where your money is at.
Yep.
And how about we pop a bottle of champagne and you hit some walls and, you know, you can be a part of this. And we want to hear a little bit about you and your story and why you chose to come on this journey with us. And
Yeah.
I think that really resonates with people. They feel involved, they feel appreciated, right? Because all of these people could have said no. And they could say no next time if they're like, this wasn't that great, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it adds to what they're building. Them lending us money is not just a better return on investment than they can get in the bank, but it's something bigger. And I think that's really the whole point of We Flip. It's to go bigger than
Right.
just making money, being profitable, flipping houses. It's
Right.
doing it for a cause that is greater than. And that's really kind of the idea. And by involving them in the, sledgehammering of said walls, they see what's the transformation is going to be. And
Right.
I think our goal with this and this first flip, and certainly ones after this, is to include you, the audience, the viewers, to be a part of it. We're going to ask you questions regarding, hey, what do you think we should do with this wall? What color should the tile be? Something as simple as that, to follow us as we make our mistakes, follow us as we transform this into this. And I think that's a big part of it is making the insurmountable become achievable, become reality.
Yeah.
And the journey to get there is one that we're super excited to not only do for ourselves, but to show it's possible.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. And it already is great.
It already is great.
Yeah. So what do we have going on this upcoming week?
So the demo just started. There's going to be a lot more demo that needs to be done. We're taking down walls. We're extending a kitchen into the garage. We're putting up a garage because there's no garage there, as you'll see in the episodes to come. But we're converting the 2-car garage into a 1-car garage and extending the living room to where it's a lot bigger and open into the kitchen. So yeah, I think this week is just more demo. And starting to put walls up for the garage. We got to move the water heater from the center of the
hallway.
house to into where the new garage is going to be. So we've
Right.
got to do the plumbing with that and get the permits pulled for that. We need to move the electrical box out of the sunroom. We got to take that out. There's just a lot of stuff that we have to do. We've got a general contractor that I've used. Actually, just finished doing a ground up construction on a property of mine in a really great area of town here. And I didn't even think he would do it, honestly, when I asked, because I know several general contractors. He's by far my most reliable one that I've used, really great. And I told him about it and told him about the vision. And he's like, I'll take a look at it. And we met him, and he was like,
All for it.
sure, we can do that.
Yeah. No, he seems like a really great guy and he's working really hard. I mean, right after he said he was going to start, we walked in and all these things are all over the floor.
Yeah, we added to that.
Yeah, we did add to it.
We added a little bit.
So yeah, no, it's great having somebody that you can trust and who's reliable and that's a big deal when it comes to building things and having people's money, their livelihood in your hands. Like you need reliable people because things can always go wrong and they still can go wrong even when you have trustworthy people. But that's like how life is. So
What's your biggest fear in this endeavor?
I don't know if I have like a biggest fear, but I would think like not being able to deliver exactly how we said that we would. Because I think that just circles back to us being people of our word.
Integrity.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that we ever lied to them or pulled a, drape over their face or anything like that. Like we're being transparent about everything that we do, and if we say, 4 to 6 months, like that's what we fully intend. Obviously, certain things like permits in the city and busing a line or something like that that is completely out of our control.
Happens.
It does happen, but I think that would be a fear of mine is like, oh, well, what about, all the things? Because this is our first one. And for me and the people that I brought in, like I said before, I've never really asked people for things. And so this proof of concept, this turnaround time, the selling it, the how beautiful it looks, all the things, like I want it to be right in line with all the rest of the stuff. And I'm sure that's like type A me talking, but it's just because I want them to see like we said this is what was going to happen, this is what we did. Your money was safe the entire time. You got it back within a timely manner. And look, it was great, right? Like, you want to play again? So I think that's like, this is our first one. So for me, it's a lot of weight hanging on this one initially. But I'm really excited more than I am scared because, you have one, an extreme amount of experience, but two, you're just like so calm and collected, cool as a cucumber, always. And I really appreciate that because, things can get hectic and I can get a little frazzled. So I appreciate that you reel it back in.
Yeah, my dad always used to say, "Don't sweat the small stuff. Most all of it is the small stuff." So
Absolutely.
yeah,
How do you eat an elephant?
one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
So we're really excited to have everybody come along on this journey with us, and we are sure you're going to learn some stuff. You're going to see some good and some bad, and we hope that we can inspire some people out there to see beyond what's right in front of them, to look bigger, to look at opportunities, and to take a risk. Even if it's a calculated one, there's so much opportunity in the world right now, especially, with the way the world is going with AI and stuff like that. And you don't have to be afraid of it. You can utilize it.
yeah, you can embrace it.
You can embrace it, and
Yeah.
you can be an entrepreneur in whatever area that you're excited about.
Yeah.
Something that gets you going.
I mean, you couldn't have told me I would be right here in this very room with you a year and like 4 months ago when I moved here. There's no way. So take it from me, embrace it. Change is beautiful. Jumping in the deep end, like it can seem a little daunting, but you got this.
We got this. So
Yeah.
excited to have you on our journey,
Yeah.
and excited to hopefully make this a very successful venture.
Yeah, it will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.